What's your name? What's your name?
No one.
I don't believe that.
Who are you?
No one. A girl has no name.
We Are No One. A podcast has no name. A WWL Radio Game of Thrones podcast with your hosts Seth, Stina, and Styles.
That's us. Welcome into the second preview episode as we get ready for the final season of Game of Thrones. A podcast has no name. We have many names. Seth, it's Stina, and
hey.
Styles. No, it's not Styles. No Styles there. This is the father of dragons?
The father of
That
dragons.
is the name we're going by.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's my husband.
Yes, this is the fine couple of Leon and Christina, and no, I was going to say you were the mother of dragons yesterday in our Game of Thrones board game, but that you were
No,
not.
I was not. I was the crazy Lysa Arryn.
And somehow we had this crazy alliance that didn't really fracture until the end.
Yeah, it was fine.
Catelyn. I was Catelyn, but
And then, of course, Catelyn had to stab me in the back in the end. But, I mean, I understood. I was very weak and fragile, like baby Robin, so it's fine.
Well, Dorne was doing its thing. You know, we were friends with dragons all day long, you know, giving them sand baths, whatnot.
Kissing ass to dragons.
He was a very big friend in the South of the dragon, which I guess is fitting. So welcome on into episode 2. Styles will be back next week, and Teapot and Cat will swing back in for our episode 1 recap. But today is all about predictions and looking into the flame. If you've missed our series recap podcast, we spent about an hour and 15 minutes going over all of our biggest and favorite moments of the series, getting you set for Season 7. So be sure to check that out either now and pause this one, or check it out after you listen to this one if you want to be weird and do it in reverse order. So many moments, and let me ask you this because you weren't on the last podcast, Leon. What are your favorite moments of the series, and what moments do you think are key that you've kind of circled and thought about a lot as we prepare for the final season here?
That's a good question. I think, favorite moment of the series gotta be Battle of the Bastards. We just watched that episode last night, actually.
Yeah.
But I really do love that one. Because it's like the first time Sansa really comes into her own. Like, that's why, you know, Jon's always been badass, but Sansa, like, goes and she's scheming like Littlefinger would have and brings him in and, you know, whatever. But it shows that she took the initiative, and we know that she's had the potential for a long time, but that's the first time that it showed through, and I really like that.
Yeah, Battle of the Bastards is my favorite battle so far. The scene with Jon getting suffocated is one that certainly stands out.
It was so
in my
good.
memory.
He was about to fall asleep, and I woke him up, and then he was wide awake for the entire battle scene. Oh, it was so good.
I think we said this when we just recorded the last episode, that season 6 was our favorite season. Would you agree there, Leon?
I don't know. maybe 2 or 3.
Two was an interesting one. I don't hear a lot.
Yeah.
Why 2? And now keep in mind, Leon, the father of dragons, is a book reader. So we got book readers and non-book readers.
I think they had a lot more of the source material go on back then, and it was just a lot more. Anything could happen, and the plots and the intrigues and the twists just seemed. I liked them better. I don't know. You know, 6. Was it 6 when Arya got stabbed?
It was.
After that happened, and Arya gets stabbed and spends about 35 minutes in a coma and goes on a parkour run through the city, I was a little upset.
In the book, she still doesn't have her sight back.
No.
She's still blind in the book?
Yes.
Yeah. So what's... See, educate me and our audience, who a lot of them probably have not read the books. Where are the big characters at
Jon's
in the last
dead.
moment?
Jon,
he just gotten stabbed.
Jon just got stabbed.
That was the last
Cersei
thing,
is still in the dungeon.
Yeah.
Let's see. Sam, actually, he's already caught up.
Yeah.
And Bran is just made it to the
Well,
the blood. No, the guy that's in the tree.
Raven?
Well,
the
yeah,
Raven.
he's been on there for a
the
little
three-eyed Raven.
Yeah, each Jojen, whatnot.
Yeah.
So we don't even know, like, the Sept of Baelor is going to get exploded.
No,
or
we
if
don't.
Arya gets her sight back, or even if Jon actually
We don't
gets
know.
resurrected.
Right.
Yeah,
we don't know any of
I
those
mean,
things.
Probably, but we don't know. Yeah.
So how are you?
Stannis is still alive, which is what I'm most excited about.
You think maybe he won't burn his daughter alive in the books?
Not for a really good reason. So maybe he will, but I don't know. He really cares a lot more about his daughter in the books, like a lot more about his daughter in the books. So we'll see.
Oh yeah, that moment. Oh, that moment.
But great sacrifices.
Seth's saddest moment.
It is my saddest.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that or Hodor. Hodor's death was.
Yeah, Hodor's going to happen in the book. We're pretty sure about that.
Yeah,
You
I mean, it has to, right?
It
just
has
makes
to.
way too much sense.
Yeah.
Either they're better writers than George was with the
Right.
show, but I don't think they are. So.
No, I
No,
don't
they
think
said
so.
they said George told them that.
Yeah.
So
It was one. I know there were. So I also heard there were 3 holy shit moments, is what one of the showrunners said. One of them was Hodor. The second one, I forget what the other 2. One of them has already happened, and then there's one that hasn't happened yet. And I'm trying to figure out what the final, oh shit or holy shit moment is. And maybe it's Bran, and I guess we're going to get all to this with all of our predictions here. We should just have that new segment.
Yeah.
What's the holy shit moment that hasn't happened yet? But as we are the whole episode here, we're going to be looking into the flames. So for the first time this season,
Look into the fire, my king. Do you see my king?
Now, let's look into the flames.
looking into the flames. This will do a lot, channeling our inner Melisandre. Well, let's start with the Red Woman. She's got to make an appearance again, right?
Oh,
we're all on the same page that she's going to come back and she's going to make an appearance here.
She's
gotta
gotta die.
Yeah.
Jinx in the strange land. Come on.
With Varys.
Oh, for sure.
So what role do you think that Melisandre has to play, or the red priests and priestesses in general?
Besides Thoros of Myr, I feel like all of the red priests and priestesses are super sexy. So she's going to go get all the hot redheads and bring them over to Westeros so they can use some, if y'all want to get into the nitty gritty, I think she's going to do something to save with the Night King. So they're going to do some fire magic and just destroy some stuff.
Yeah, there's got to be a role for R'hllor to play because R'hllor is the enemy of the Great Other. The others seem to be the thralls or worshippers of the Great Other, so they're opposed. So they have to be the ones involved in taking it down, especially because they have the whole history with Azor Ahai and the first Long Night. They're going to have some insight or knowledge into ending the second Long Night, which I believe is coming, but we got that later.
And they might have some conflict of interest because the Red Priestess that went to Meereen, she thought Daenerys was the princess that was promised. But, our girl thinks good old Jon is the prince that was promised. So, we'll just see how that plays out.
Mm-hmm. And we said this in the last podcast, but Missandei does retranslate the Valancourt to common language. I don't know what they call the common language there, but it means... yeah, prince or princess, not gender specific. They are gender fluid in Westeros and Old Valyria.
Valancourt is little brother, but I'm trying to think of the word.
Yeah, I forgot the word, but they translated it.
It's prince that was promised, and it's whatever it is
Azor
in Valyria.
Ahai, maybe?
Azor Ahai is either a name or a title.
Well.
We don't know for sure.
So who is the prince that was promised or princess that was promised? That's one of the big question marks here. There's obviously the obvious ones. There's Jon or Daenerys. There is Jaime, I suppose, little brother.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've heard
is
Tyrion
there Bran or Tyrion, or if it's sister, is it Arya, or if Sansa's a little sister? There's basically anybody in the show is a little sibling of somebody else, I suppose, unless you're Cersei. So it can't be Cersei, unfortunately for me. Hashtag Team Cersei. But who is your prediction? Who is the prince that was promised?
Melisandre's been wrong too many times. She has got to be right this time. Come on, Jon.
Yeah, I think it's Jon, but I think it's probably more than one person. The first Azor Ahai, the first hero, didn't do it on his own, so I don't think Jon's going to do it on his own either. So we can save that for later. Or we can get into it now. How I think that's actually going to play out with what sacrifices are going to be made and all that.
Yeah, let's go to and do it
Okay.
now. You tell us, and this is what I love because I think you probably have more insights than me and other people because you read the book, so you have a little extra insights and know what old George has been thinking all of these years.
So way back in, I believe it was season 2, Salvador Stan is talking to Davos, and they're talking about how Stannis doesn't, he's not paying him enough money, and he wants to go off and do his own thing. And he tells him the story about Azor Ahai and how he got the flaming sword, Lightbringer. And he says, he beat the sword for 10 days and quenched it in water, and it broke. And then the next time he beat the sword for 50 days and quenched it in a lion's heart, and it broke. And then the third time he beat the sword in fire for 100 days and quenched it in his wife Nissa's chest. And when he stabbed her, she gave out a cry of agony and ecstasy. And that sword was the sword that did eventually beat the White Walkers and end the first long night.
Okay, so you're our own little maester here. So is this the sword reforged?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a Lord of the Rings
A little bit,
trope there, a little bit. Boy,
Yeah,
I guess it seems like it's Jon.
Right.
I think it's got to be Jon with a good bit of sacrifice from probably Dany. Dany's probably Nissa in my book. So
AKA Dany would get stabbed by Jon.
Danny's getting stabbed in the chest by Jon.
Dany is getting stabbed by Jon.
Yeah.
Is there going to be lots of? Well, they're not siblings. You say there are lots of, but they are family. Now that we know he's a Targaryen,
Yeah.
there's going to be lots of family feuds in this season because if we can just talk about prophecies now, we can just go through all the prophecies, which prophecies seem to be like a big part of the show, and maybe misinterpreting prophecies, which is what Melisandre alludes to in season 7. So Cersei's prophecy, when she goes and sees Maggie the Frog, 3 kids, they will all perish, just paraphrasing here, they have. There's 2 things here now that have confused me. Number 1, who's the little brother that kills her, if the prophecy is right, because she has 2 little brothers.
Right.
And also, where does her other child fit into this? Because I believe she is pregnant. I don't think the show
Lies and deceit.
I don't think the show would have left that as hanging 2 calendar years ago, if it wasn't true. Just me, I think it's true, but maybe she doesn't bring it to term. How does all this relate? How does Cersei's prophecy end? Does the prophecy come true?
She definitely isn't having a baby. I mean, I think that you might be right. Maybe she is a little bit pregnant, then she loses the baby. That's the only reason that could happen, because I feel like that frog lady, she knew what she was talking about.
Yeah.
But everyone thinks, since Jaime and her are twins, and Jaime came out second, he is technically a younger brother, everyone is starting to think it's Jaime. They've been having this huge feud. But it might be still a twist, maybe, if Tyrion kills her. I mean, if I had to put money on it, I would bet Jaime. But I would like to see if it was changed up a little bit and Tyrion killed her.
It could be, but I don't think the show actually mentions the term Valonqar, which is little brother. I think they just skip over that part.
What does she say? The Maggie says something about. Do they just say little? They don't say she'll be slain in the show, or she'll be vanquished by her brother. However, they were. I know they worded.
I thought they
think
skipped
they
over
did.
it.
They didn't
Yeah,
say
they skipped
anything.
over it.
Really?
It's the book
Yeah.
readers. Hey
This
guys,
gives me hope that she stays alive. Let's go. Come on, Cersei.
I think I got another prediction for what she's gonna do too. I don't think either of them get to kill her.
Really?
Yeah.
So, okay, let me give you my prediction with what happens with Cersei and King's Landing. We're just kind of jumping all over the place here with our predictions, but that's fine. That's what we're going to do. So in season 2, in the House of the Undying, Dany has these visions, and they've all come true. One of the visions was she sees the Red Keep with its roof exploded. The Iron Throne's still there, but the roof is gone, and it's snowing inside It didn't seem like mass devastation, but it seemed like something happened. So I don't think Cersei used wildfire to blow up the city or anything like that, but something happens where I don't think there will be an Iron Throne. I don't think anybody will sit on the Iron Throne because I think the wheel will be broken in one fashion or another.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
100%. I don't think, well, I mean, the wildfire whole bit, that's up for debate.
Yeah, I agree about 55%.
Hey, that's good.
But I do not think anyone will sit the Iron Throne when this show is over.
Yeah.
Unless it's the Night King.
Yeah.
The Night King on the throne. I've wondered that. I was just talking to my roommate Jacob about this yesterday. And I think it was Jacob who was saying, what if the Night King ends up winning? What about if the show ends fade to black, Sopranos style, with just, White Walkers over the whole continent?
I'd be down.
Could it happen?
Yes.
Is that a plausible
absolutely.
ending to the show?
It definitely could. It went the other way last time. This is obviously not the story where good guys win and everybody goes home feeling good. It's like they say, if you think the story has a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention. So, I mean, it's definitely a possibility. I think that will probably wind up somewhere more along I think they're going to come in, they're going to roll right over Winterfell. Everybody's going to be chased down south as far as they can go, keep pushing. Something's going to happen to tip the balance. They're going to start pushing back up north, and they're going to have to meet some type of compromise or treaty or something like that. Unless something really wild happens.
So a compromise or treaty with the dead, with the White Walker, with Night's King, specifically.
Because they don't have any type of political machinations or anything like that. It's not like they want to conquer or anything. They just want to extinguish life. And we don't know why they went away for thousands of years and then showed back up. But my thought of it is the land north of the wall is probably supposed to be theirs. That was part of the original pact that was made, maybe with the Children of the Forest, and that's a little bit of book stuff, but there was a pact made a long, long time ago. And by having all the wildlings up there, that violates that pact, and rather than just saying, okay, we're going to clean our house and wreck yours. So they probably do want to kill everybody, but it's probably just to defend their land, I would think. They are not creatures of undead themselves. They're their own species, just like the Children of the Forest.
If we put a percentage probability on this show ending with the White Walkers, in power or winning the show, is that like 5%? Is it 10%? Is it 50%?
I would say 50-50, man. 50-50. Good,
25.
bad.
25. Even 25 that's large.
Wait, what do you think, Seth?
The White Walkers, I don't think even George R.R. Martin is that much of a masochist is the wrong word, but just, it's one anarchist, maybe.
Yeah.
But maybe he is.
Well,
maybe I should know by now that he is. Maybe that's...
He definitely says that the ending's going to be bittersweet, so we can probably expect the same from the show to be a bittersweet ending, and that just seems like a acidic ending, not a bittersweet ending. So we probably won't get that.
Because he said bittersweet. So maybe the White Walkers takeover is worthy of our first one of these this season.
Ah! Oh, Todd, bro, I'm on fire! I'm on fire!
Anytime we make a prediction this year
I'm on fire!
that's just crazy and off the wall, we'll give them one of these. So we all have this prediction, kind of. So maybe we're all a little bit crazy and off the wall, but that's what makes the show good. Let's final prediction on Cersei's demise or non-demise. Even though Team Cersei, I don't think she makes it. I was stunned that she made it through last season. I think it is Jaime who ends up killing her. I'm going to make that final prediction.
How? He's in Winterfell. How do you think he's going to get down there?
I think they come back and maybe, like you said, they run over Winterfell and a lot of deaths happen up there. And maybe it's a little bit of a rope-a-dope from the crew, because I think the White Walkers, that army is going to get to Winterfell early. And we've all heard about, they've been promoting, there's this huge battle in Winterfell. I'm wondering if that initial battle isn't the big one, and they just wipe everybody out, and we're going, well, I thought this was the big battle. And then they have to reconvene up north to try to retake Winterfell, and then maybe Cersei gets involved somehow there, and maybe that's when she dies. But I just don't know. If the big battle's in Winterfell, they're right there, relatively. I mean, are we going to have the big battle in episode 2 or 3, or are we going to have multiple battles, or...
Yeah.
I definitely agree with you. The first battle is just going to be a pushover. It's just... They're gonna go right through, and the way that Winterfell gets his name supposedly is because that is where winter fell during the first long night. That's where they defeated the others the first time.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's good. Makes sense.
Yeah. But what I think is what's going to happen with Cersei is she's going to pull her own trigger. She's going to finish what the Mad King started. There's caches of wildfire all throughout the bottom of the city, and if we talk about it just from a story standpoint, that's Chekhov's gun. Chekhov's gun's on the counter, you're using it. So I think that either there's going to be a siege on the outside of the city, or the people on the inside of the city turn on her, or hopefully what I'd like to see is the whites get into the city and start taking it over, and bang, that's when it goes off, kill a big portion of the army of the dead, and deny... That's the largest population in Westeros. If you can deny the army of the dead those people, that's a big tactical advantage, at the sacrifice of millions of lives.
Stina, what's your thoughts here? You gotta give us your thoughts on this, but this is a big one.
Okay, hear me out.
All right.
It's going to sound a little strange.
All right.
So
I got my finger on the sound bite here. Okay.
So you know how Tyrion, we really wanted him to ride a dragon last year. He's in Winterfell with his queen, and he's a little jealous right now because Jaime's killed the cousin. Jaime's killed a king. He's the kinslayer. He's the Kingslayer. So he's going to get on one of Daenerys' dragons. He's going to ride down to King's Landing with Daenerys for a reason we'll get to in a minute, and he's going to see that Cersei's trying to do something she ain't supposed to do because, Cersei does what she wants, and he's going to kill her, and he's going to be the Kinslayer and the Queenslayer.
Interesting.
Okay.
I like it. Now, Tyrion, there's been hints in the show, I want to believe, and maybe big hints in the books that you guys could help out with here, that he's actually Targaryen? Part Targaryen, that his dad had an affair with is that right?
His mom had an affair with the Mad King.
So he would be a Targaryen then,
right? I mean, I don't think
would he be the heir?
No, because it would be a bastard.
Yeah,
I don't think the show might not do that, but it's just a theory that's crazy out there.
Is that only book theory?
Well,
it could be show theory too, because he did go try to set the dragons loose and they didn't kill him. That's a big sign.
Yeah, I mean it's certainly not confirmed, but they never talk about Joanna Lannister, which is the Lannisters' kid's mom.
Which is odd. You're right. They have not mentioned her almost at all.
Yeah, it would be really, really odd for them to throw that in at the end there. So I think they're just going to leave that alone. But in the book, it's probably 50-50. Could be, could not be. That's the way George likes to play it. Doesn't want to make it obvious to you.
Okay, so no soundbite needed for that one yet. But you did say, I'm curious here, there was a great tease. You said there's a reason that you think that they'll be headed down towards King's Landing. So what's that reason?
Right. In the trailer, you just see, I know people have been saying that they want to keep away from the trailer because they don't want any type of spoilers. But, I mean, if you're listening to this show, you've probably watched the trailer.
They want some spoilers.
They want a little bit.
Just a little.
And a little taste. You see a dead horse's foot on Winterfell. Mm-hmm. So I think the Night King got on Viserion, the dead dragon, and rode down to Winterfell, did this nice cool tactic where he's like, okay, this big herd, go to Winterfell. I'm going to take my dragon and I'm going to go to King's Landing and just get as many of the big mass population as possible.
Yeah.
So, we'll maybe divide and conquer.
Oh.
So Daenerys she was planning on trying to defend Winterfell, but her and Tyrion might have to try to go save King's Landing, because if the Night King gets King's Landing, it's really done with.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to Winterfell. Are we all in agreement here, because we are making predictions that Winterfell falls?
Yes.
Oh, God. I don't know, guys.
I am.
I'm not ready for this. I'm going to say no. No.
No, okay. All right. I like no. Balance this out a little bit.
Yeah.
So that answers the next question that I have then, is how far south does the Army of the Dead get? God. So you're saying it stops at Winterfell, or maybe, like you said, splits, divide and conquer.
Right.
I do think that they get towards King's Landing, probably not, maybe all the way there. I don't know what to believe from everything that they're releasing with all the teasers. I do not believe that in a show that is so secretive and that they haven't even released the entire scripts and they're filming multiple endings, why would they put out there that the big battle that they filmed is in Winterfell if they really wanted to keep it secret? I feel like they're tricking us somehow, some way, and that there's going to be multiple battles in Winterfell, or the big battle maybe actually isn't in Winterfell, and they just I don't really know. I just have a hard time believing this crew that is so secretive is just going to tell everybody, well, yeah, our big battle that we spent 70 days filming and $60 million is in Winterfell. It
could be the first battle at Winterfell, the first long night that we see through Bran, and see how they defeated the White Walkers the first time. So, I mean, we could have them roll over Winterfell, and then Bran, trying to Google search or Westeros search.
Bran search.
Back to see, okay, well, what was the solution for the last time, So that's also a possibility, too. I don't know if they talked about, like, Jon's in this battle or Dany's in this battle or anything like that. We just know there is a battle. So.
What would Bran's Google search be? Would it be like Raven Book or Brangle?
Brangle.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's called
Root Source.
Root Source.
Yeah.
I like. He escaped.
The trees.
The weird.
Weirwood. Weirwiki.
Yeah.
I love Weirwiki. Okay, let's roll on through some other predictions here. We must go with one of the, I think, big three that everybody wants to know. Do Jon and Dany actually get together here? Do they find out, hey, we're actually family, and they say, no, we don't want to be basically Jaime and Cersei part 2?
Well, it's not like it's a big deal for Targaryens. They're more distantly related than most of the marriages Targaryens had. They would often marry brother to sister, keep the bloodline pure, stuff like that. So I don't see why Dany would have a problem with it. She was going to marry her older brother, who was a monster. But that was always in the plan for her, so I don't think it's going to affect her too much. Jon already died. I don't think he's going to be able to have children because he's technically, like, undead. Dany was said not to be able to have children by Mir Mazdul, the person who, set up the whole thing with Khal Drogo and all that. So I really don't think there's going to be any children coming out of it, but I think they'll get over it.
Do we see Ilario Mopatis, the guy in the show with the big crazy beard in season 1 that kind of set all that up? Does he come back? I know I listened to a lot of Binge Mode and the Ringers ones with Jason Concepcion and Mallory Rubin. Free plug there. It's awesome. And they kind of believe maybe that he does come back.
Well, I think the last time we saw him, he was in King's Landing talking with Varys underneath the Red Keep. He was the one that Arya was following around, talking about, well, if the last hand died, why can't another one? And Varys says, this hand is not the last, whatever. And Arya tries to warn Ned about, what's coming up. So it could be, but I think Essos is out of it for the show. I just don't think they have time for it. That was probably when they were working off of source material that there was another character that those two were involved in bringing up. They weren't so much focused on Dany. They were focused on another character that Dany has adopted a lot of the roles of. So I don't see any foothold for him to come back in, unfortunately. I like him. Let's
just run through everybody in Essos, and then I want to get your thoughts, Stina, on this too. So no on Ilario. What about other characters? Dario's over there. Any more from the... I also don't think they're actually going to go back to Essos with the show unless it's a quick shot of like the priestesses and priest meeting there with Melisandre. But who all comes back? I think Dario's going to make some kind of return here.
Yeah.
Oh, if he leaves Marine, he's a fool.
Yeah.
He might be a fool, though. What about if he hears Daenerys is in trouble?
Jorah
Yeah,
did it.
he wants
Jorah
to-
came back 3 times. I can do it too.
I guess he wants to see her conquer things.
Yeah.
I would like to see the Quaif.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we talked
Quaif.
about that last episode, but I'm still with it.
What about Jaqen Hagar? The Faceless Man.
Possibly. I mean, I don't know. He's all about making money over there.
I mean, for what? Because like the way that they ended with the House of Black and White and everything, I don't know why he was happy. That was another reason I was very upset. He had this little smirk on his face, like, "Oh, okay, you go do your thing," but
Because
why would he care?
He was with her in Westeros, and he was like, "I knew it all along, secretly."
He's no one. Why does he care about anyone? You know. So I don't see why he would get involved either, unless like we know that they don't like dragons. You know, they are escaped slaves in Braavos. The people who founded Braavos were the first Faceless Men. They ran from Valyria because they were, you know, literally worked to death in the mine. So if they do get involved, they're not going to be involved on the side of the dragons. We can pretty much be sure of that.
Yeah.
What? So they'll be involved with the whites?
I don't know. Maybe Braavos hooks up with Cersei.
Oh. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, because Bravo's already kind of with the Golden,
Yeah.
The Golden Company,
The Golden
and
Company,
Iron
yeah.
Bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Over
are
there.
involved with Cersei. So
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
We're saving the Iron Throne for last, by the way. So another one that I rewatched, and I put this on my list to ask everybody, was there was a line between Melisandre and Varys, and I think Varys actually mentioned this 2 or 3 times throughout the show. When he was castrated, when he was captured and castrated, he heard a voice when the sorcerer was casting a spell and doing magic, but we didn't know who the voice was. Never says. And then Melisandre asked very pointedly this last season, I think it was in episode 6, it was towards the end, do you know who you heard? Or something to that. Do you know who you heard, who the voice was? Who was the voice?
Oh,
Was
that's
it
R'hllor.
yeah.
Was it? But was it? What is it? My prediction is it's Bran. Bran we'll have a scene where Bran, going back through time, somehow he hears his voice.
Oh. Bran is kind of all over the place.
Okay, I need one of the.
You need.
Oh, Todd, Bran on fire!
I gotta get myself one of those.
Yeah.
that was worthy of one of those.
Yeah, maybe if he had his genitals pinned to a tree or something like that, and the leaves rustled a certain way, but there's no way that the old gods are speaking through fire. It's they're the ice side of the magic in the world, and R'hllor is the fire side.
Okay, let's go through again. Jumping around here, is Littlefinger actually dead?
Yeah.
I think if they didn't bury his body, he might not stay dead, but I think he is dead.
I want to say so, but then I rewatched last season 4 times now, and all of his scenes confused the hell out of me. Especially the one where he gives, I guess it was somebody involved with the Faceless Man, a coin, and they whisper something into his ear, like the episode before he dies, and I don't feel like that's a throwaway. Maybe he is dead and that meant something else. What did that all mean?
Well,
he's trying to probably get some background on Arya, I think, but you saw his throat get slit. You just said you watched it 4 times.
Yeah.
Did, but what about because what is it to pay for life, a death is needed, or whatever, however that line goes with the Faceless Man for the nameless god. Was that perhaps, because we saw Jaqen die, but it wasn't actually him.
Right.
Could they have sent somebody over to die in Littlefinger's place?
That would be a new item on the menu for the Faceless Men.
Because the coin's very powerful. So if he gave, you would know the book. So let's say I'm Littlefinger and I give somebody a coin. Does that spare my life? Did something happen there? Because it seems like it's incredibly valuable, like it was for Arya.
I think
earlier
you're
in the show.
kind of known as a faceless man. If you give someone a coin and say those words, they just kind of assume you're the highest rank that there
or it's like a recruitment pamphlet. Like you show up to the army, like, hey, I got this in the mail. Like it seems more like that than a get out of jail free card, because just like the waif, went and finished the job that Arya started. If you're marked, you're dead. That's just it. You know, it doesn't matter who it is or what they did or why. If someone pays the price, the life is promised.
So my last, very hot, I'm on fire, holy shit take with Littlefinger is he says multiple times he's from Bravos.
Mm-hmm.
He gives that coin, or at least we think it's a coin. Could he possibly be a faceless man throughout this entire show? And we're going to find out in the end he's still alive and has something to play. And we're going to go back to season 1, and we're going to rewatch this entire series with a different view because now we find out that this entire time he's been a faceless man.
I think not. Just because, he grew up with Catelyn Stark.
He was Catelyn Stark.
Well, his grandfather was a sellsword in Bravos who came over to Westeros, and then his father got land, and then he was born on that land. But it's not impossible, but it just seems well out of his wheelhouse. He was very good at making deals, making money, being political. He doesn't seem the type to have time to train with a sword or anything like that, or discover how to get faces or anything like that.
Yes, talk me down off this branch of the Weirwood tree.
And I think the reason it was so confusing is because they didn't have the source material. Littlefinger is such a powerful and specific character because George had something very specific in mind for them, and after they lost the benefit of knowing where that path was going, they just said, well, we got to do something with him. Let's make him do this, this, and that, and then he can get his throat slit, and that's some fan service, and there we go. So
maybe you giving me hope. So maybe in the book he's a faceless man or something happens, something crazy?
No. Definitely not in the book. Definitely not in the book. No.
All right, let's stay in that vein. Nameless men and women, and maybe half nameless women. Arya.
Yeah.
What's her storyline going to be in this final season? Is she the one who, we think, kills the Night King or kills Bran, who might be the Night King, which we'll also get to in a second? What's her storyline?
She's given up Needle, and she's going to fall in love with Gendry and go make babies.
She's
and
the queen
that's
then,
it.
right? Because Gendry's going to have the throne.
Yeah. So that's Arya's storyline. Put a bow on it. It's done.
Yeah.
Done. Yeah. Next. No.
Yeah. I think that I don't think that she's going to be able to get up close and personal with Night's King. That's kind of Night's King is going to be Bran, Jon, Dany. They're going to be the ones that are going to have to take care of Night's King. I think Arya is going to have a pretty major role to play. She's got the Valyrian dagger, so maybe she takes out some of the generals, some of the other White Walkers that are there. But Night's King is a little out of her league. I love her, but she's what, 12?
Yes. Although in the show, I guess it's accelerated.
Yeah, 16. Yeah. Bran's even younger, though, but he's like a freaky warg, so.
Does she finish off her list, which would mean she would kill Cersei?
Maybe, okay.
With her brother's face?
Yeah, maybe she kills Cersei with Tyrion's face.
Or
with Jaime's face. But maybe Jaime dies. She gets the face and goes back down and finishes the job. Could be.
I forget. Is it canon? Is it lore that you must kill the person to wear their face, or is it not anymore? Because that one scene when Jaqen was taking off all the faces.
Well, she was drugged when that happened as well, because that was right before she lost her sight. Mm-hmm. So the visions that she saw were not necessarily truly there. So it could be, it could not be. In the book, it's definitely 100%. The person has to be dead to wear their face.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Bran. There is, and look, spoiler alert here, but come on, if you're listening to this podcast, you have heard this before from friends or internets or somewhere else, that Bran is the Night's King. I was vehemently against this theory forever. Forever. Until like 2 weeks ago, I started watching again, and there are some indicators on the show. Yes, they look relatively similar enough where it could happen. But we do know that they can see each other now, and Bran has been touched. Is Bran the Night King, or what role does he have to play, or what role does he have to play in this final season?
I really don't think he is, because it seems like the upper limit of the power that anyone's been able to pull off is what he did with Hodor. every time the three-eyed raven would try to talk someone, it would just come out as rustling in the leaves of a weirwood or, something like that. So I don't see how he could literally transport his physical being into somebody thousands of years in the past. I mean, okay, maybe he wargs through a long, long time ago. It's possible, but I don't think that's what George intended. What Dan and Dave do, who knows?
Right, that's just it. What do they do? What are your thoughts? Your thoughts, Stina?
I would be very surprised if he was. You see, there's so many good points on why Bran is the Night King that whenever people who just get into the nitty gritty about it, you're like, oh, okay, like that has to be it. But at the end of the day, can he be in two places at once? Would he try to essentially kill? Because he did. He tried to kill Bran whenever he went to that cave that the Raven, was trying to download himself into Bran in. Would he try to kill the person who he used to be? I mean, wouldn't that technically kill him? If we're doing the whole time warpy thing?
Like, I don't know this. Did they definitely try to kill Bran in that cave?
Yeah.
I mean, he sent in a whole bunch of whites, and they don't really think for themselves.
That's your point.
Yeah. And I think the reason that there's so many similarities between Bran and the Night's King is because the Night's King was almost definitely a Stark or a progenitor of the House Stark.
That's word of the day. Progenitor.
Yeah.
I've been progenitizing all the time.
Yeah.
I'm going to progenitize
That's right.
all over this wall.
Yeah. So it's definitely Stark blood, 100%. It's a Stark who is
Craster. Like what Gilly's son.
Yeah, I mean
Is it the whole time? It's been Gilly's son.
It's been Gilly's son the whole time.
Little Samwell.
Oh no.
He's a baby.
Oh no. He's a baby.
I
But they
know.
do not treat babiys well on this show.
No.
Weddings don't go well.
No.
Babies don't go well. Everything good in life doesn't go well.
Exactly.
On this show. How about Clegane Bowl? It's gotta happen, right?
I think we'll get it.
It must happen.
I think we'll get it. I was talking about on the way over here, like, it'd be cool if Clegane, if the Hound dies, and then Beric gives his fire life, the life given to him by R'hllor, to him, so that they can have a undead battle. I'd really like to see that. That'd be pretty neat.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm giving a really weird look because I hadn't heard that one, and I really like it.
Yeah.
A lot.
Zombie Mountain and come
Zombie
back
Mountain,
from the dead.
Zombie Hound.
Yeah, let's do it.
So we all think it's going to happen. We all want to see it. How does it happen? Because the Hound is way up north, and we know that Zombie Mountain is never leaving Cersei's side. So this goes back. How do they all come back together again? It's got to happen somewhere, sometime.
And how does the Hound even get back from the wall? Because him and Tormund, they're like in the wall when it gets knocked down, right?
That's
Wait
Beric.
a second. Wait a
That's
second.
Beric
Do I
that's
have this
on top
wrong?
of the wall.
Do I have
that's
this wrong?
Beric? Oh, okay.
And with Tormund, Beric and Tormund are on
so
top
where's
of the wall.
the Hound?
I was going to say he delivered the white.
They went down to King's Landing.
Oh, right.
But he was on the boat back
Yeah.
with Tyrion.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct?
He should
So
be
he's-
in Winterfell with everyone else. Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
He did say he was coming for you. I'm coming for you, brother.
Yeah. And they wanted, they heard the fans. They heard the fans. So
They
I think
have
that's
to.
gonna happen.
That's going to be an
Yeah.
epic sword
Yeah.
fight. I hope that one is as good as Oberyn against the Mountain, Mountain and the Viper.
And if
because
they're
that
both
one-
dead, they can stab each other even more. And
they probably will kill each other, right?
Yeah.
Or
It's
it'll
gotta
Unless
be.
the Mountain just doesn't die. I would be so sad.
I want to see the Mountain with his helmet off. Like, I want to see the Mountain in all of his decaying,
I'll
gross
haunt you
glory.
in your dreams, dude. Oh my god.
Half the show is haunting me in my dreams.
I'd like
be
to
honest.
see if he does take his helmet off, the head just stays in the helmet.
Ew.
Where it's just
Scooby-Doo
like
style?
Yeah. The headless mountain.
I love it. Okay, so there's two big ones left here. Number one, everybody wants to know, I guess we kind of touched on this, but who sits on the Iron Throne? Who rules? And maybe that could be plural, as in who rules, if there are multiple rulers. I'll give mine first. I really am kind of Team Sansa at this point, too. I don't think she makes it. I think she'll be one of those deaths, maybe episode 1 or very early on, that's going to be very sad. I also think that Daenerys dies.
Yeah.
I think Daenerys dies. I almost want to say Jon dies too, but then everybody's dead. So I'll go with my original prediction. There is no Iron Throne, period. So nobody's going to rule from King's Landing, at least on the Iron Throne. Jon will rule in the North. And I think it'll be fractured and fragmented, and maybe the wheel will get broken, and Tyrion rules? I don't know. I don't know who would rule then.
I like that. Return back to the 7 kingdoms with 7 kings, rather than 1. That's neat. I guess my prediction is wherever they're going to be, because I think we're all in agreement, there's not going to be an Iron Throne. They're hyping everything up for the throne, for the throne. Throne's not going to be there. It's not going to be there. Yeah. So I think it's going to be Jon and Tyrion, and I think they are going to make a really good pair. So I'd like to see them.
All right, Stina. You're on the clock here. This is like, March Madness predictions that we were just doing. You can be wrong.
Okay.
But you still got to be on tape so we can all make fun of you later.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, honestly, if Cersei can't have it, no one will. But
I do think
if I just had to, if I had to just throw a wild one out there, I mean, my second fave, Jaime, or my first favorite, I haven't decided yet. I really love Jaime, so I'm gonna just say Jaime.
What about if it's like Jaime and Brienne?
My heart, that would be so bittersweet. If everyone else was dead and it was just Jaime and Brienne, I would be happy. I would love the show.
Great.
Oh my gosh.
That'd be pretty great.
Is Bran still alive at the end of this?
I think that he is going to be very much like the Three-Eyed Raven and have a job to do, and when that job is done, what else is he going to do? So does he need to be alive at the end? Probably not. Maybe he finds a way that he'll have to sacrifice himself just like the Three-Eyed Raven did to get his job done,
And then it'll pass on to somebody, right? Because there's always going to be a Three-Eyed Raven.
Right.
Spin-off number 2, Three-Eyed Raven, Valeria or something. I don't know. The Bachelor, Three-Eyed Raven style. Okay, and here's the other one. George R. Martin... or somebody said George told them the holy shit moment. I can't remember how it was phrased, but there are 3 holy shit moments in this series. 2 of them have already happened. There's 1 left that we have not seen yet. The producer has said as much in an interview recently, I think with EW, so it's out there. Great tease by him. What is the holy shit moment? If there's only 2 in this entire series so far, that seems like there's 999 holy shit moments so far. What is the holy shit moment? Do we have any idea what that is?
I would have to say what Leon said. It might. Yours might
But
be the
what
same
did I
answer.
say?
But whenever you said Cersei's going to blow up King's Landing,
Yeah.
I think that might be the holy shit moment.
It could be that. It could be the Long Night comes again. Because we have the invasion of the White Walkers. And there's in the books, there's all kind of stuff talking about how the Long Night started. It happened all over the world, not just Westeros. So when they're in Qarth, they talk about, dragons came from the moon. One day the moon went too close to the sun and it burst and 1,000 dragons, landed all throughout the land. I'd like to see that happen again. I'd like to see the moon explode and for a big asteroid event or something like that to come in and throw a bunch of stuff up into the atmosphere and you just get nuclear winter, where no sun, no stars, no nothing, and shit gets bad,
It is known.
Yeah. So that might be it. That would be a big thing because if you look at where the Night's King was made, when they made him, it was nice and bright and summer and there wasn't ice everywhere. After the Night's King was made, after the Long Night started, that's when all that ice was started up there. So maybe something knocked the planet off its axis, and that's why we have winters that last for 10 years, summers that last for 10 years, stuff like that, and not your normal weather patterns. Yeah. So there's got to be something associated with that.
Boy.
He goes off on little tangents a lot.
Sorry.
No. I'm just thinking, no, it wasn't that at all. I'm just thinking about the holy shit moments and what it could be. And the only two that I've thought about this for the last week and a half that I knew I was going to have to answer this on the podcast. So I'll give two. And these are obviously way out there, but they would be holy shit moments. First would be Bran is the Lord of Light. Again, Bran is R'hllor because he has been trying to communicate with these people in the past forever. He is the voice that Varys heard. He is the one that's been talking to Melisandre in all the visions. So Bran is the quote-unquote Lord of Light. Or something with the Faceless Men. I can't be specific because I feel like if I'm specific, it's going to be so wrong. But either Littlefinger's still alive, either Arya is maybe somebody who we don't think she is, or vice versa. Maybe somebody who we don't think is Arya is actually Arya right now. Those are the only two that I could think of that would be like, holy shit, and then kind of make sense. I still feel like watching all of Littlefinger's scenes and watching all of the Faceless Man scenes in Arya that there's something there that is going to be so obvious once it's revealed, and we're going to go back and watch the whole series and we'll be like, we should have known this from the beginning,
right?
I'd
but
like
it's
that.
not there yet.
I'd like that. It'd make a lot more sense for what they did, especially with Arya.
Yeah. Leon actually was talking to me about something earlier. I know that you'll spin off on this a little bit, but way back in one of the earlier seasons when they were north of the wall and they found the dragon glass originally.
Yeah, Fist
and they
of the
had
First
that,
Men.
right, the Fist of the First Men. They had that horn inside of the bag that didn't work when they tried to blow it. Well, in the books, it should raise some giants out there. So, maybe Sam could fix that horn and just raise a whole bunch of giants from the world. Like, who knows? That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be really great to see. Also, this doesn't really fit anywhere, but I really think that the White Walkers are the ones who built the wall. And that goes all the way back into what we started in the beginning, talking about everything north of the wall is their land, and they're pissed off that people are living there.
Oh, so they built,
they built the wall
to keep
everybody else. Make north of the wall great again.
Yeah, okay. Exactly.
I like it.
Yeah.
I really like it. Well, okay, let's get to some fan questions and comments here. You can ask us questions after each show, and we'll ask them for you. On our social media, we've got many platforms on social media. We obviously have a YouTube, but on Twitter, we're at a podcast has on Twitter. You can follow us there. Be sure you do if you haven't yet. And on Instagram, it's at a podcast has no name, GOT. Like Game of Thrones, obviously, at a podcast has no name, GOT. So follow us there. Here's some questions that have come in here. This one from my buddy John Stiles. It's Stiles' brother. Stiles is not here today. At John D. Stiles asks, what spinoff would you most like to see? I've talked about this before on the podcast. It's not going to be the spinoff that is coming, but the spinoff that I want sometime, I want Old Valyria. I want to know what the Doom was. I want to see all the dragons there. I want to see all the crazy magic that was going on. I want Old Valyria. Maybe it does happen in this next series that's coming, and they'll have kind of like Essos. Maybe it's the Essos of this new series, but I want Old Valyria, so that's mine.
I support you 100% in that statement.
Would be
That's
great.
beautiful.
Other than that, I'd like to see Dunk and Egg adapted into a series. That'd be really great. Or even like a couple of movies, because they're kind of shorter stories, prequels to Game of Thrones. There's no dragons going around, so it'd be like feasible for them to do it. It's basically like two characters in different settings every time.
Cool. I would like to see maybe The Long Night.
Yeah, I think that's what they're doing, right?
I think,
is it?
But they haven't really said. They just didn't they say it was going to be during? Well, maybe it is because it's during the time of Bran the Builder.
Yeah.
Is that the?
Oh,
yeah,
that'd
that
be
would
fun.
be.
I'm excited
yeah,
now.
because that was before the first Long Night. That was when the first men were hanging out with killing, and then hanging out with the children in the forest. So it would have been right for that time.
I forgot this one. So this is from at Seth Dunlap on Twitter. Is Bran, like this Bran, is he Bran the Builder?
I don't. For the same reason that I don't think he's the Night King, I don't think he's Bran the Builder. There's a long time for everything to happen. It doesn't necessarily have to be this one very essential character is all of these people. It seems like there's plenty of room to share.
I'm going to say yes, queen. All the important people.
Yes, queen.
Yes, queen.
Yes, queen.
Get it. So, I mean, all the important people
Girl.
have a role to play.
Ooh, girl.
Honey, so obviously, boo.
Honey.
He the Night King, baby, for sure.
Honey. Okay, this one from Colin Bean on Twitter. Do you think that Arya is dead and is really the waif? I guess we briefly touched on this. I think maybe we didn't because we've all talked about this together, but off podcast. I don't believe that she's dead or she is the waif, although, like I said, I do believe, to me, there's just got to be something more with the Faceless Men that we're not seeing, but I do not think that Arya is dead, nor is she the waif.
Yeah, I would almost like to say that I prefer that she was, because it would make a lot more sense for what they did with her, and maybe there's a reason that death of the waif happened off screen, all that. I wish it were true, but I don't think it is. I think that was just another instance where they didn't have the source material to run off, so they did the best they could,
Yeah, a girl's Arya Stark, and she went home.
Yeah, she went home, she killed all the Freys, she did all the things that Arya would do, and it just doesn't seem like the Faceless Men would care about any of that.
And I mean, Nymeria knew who that was. Let's get real.
Yeah,
Nymeria and her super pack,
Yeah.
they would have killed her if she was not Arya,
Yeah.
she
Great
would
point.
be dead.
Yeah.
That is a great point.
Yeah.
Just smash that
Yeah.
theory to smithereens.
Right.
Stina. Here's one from @Joshua Denham. Is that, quote, spoiler that happened on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon legit?
Loved
Arya
it.
dies in episode 2 of season 8. If you missed it, it was on April Fool's that came out, and she did a great job of it.
Shaking and
let it
everything.
dies
Yeah.
on episode 2 and then starts crying and running behind the scenes. I will say it would be very Thrones and Arya if, April Fool's, but it actually happened.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and say yes. I think it was a spoiler.
Prop.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Sure.
Yeah, why not? From Michael Hotard,
If
at
that's
Hotard
not
Michael.
a common name, what's up? Go Wildcats!
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to high school together.
There you go. Okay. All right, Seth, and he's got 3 questions here, although obviously we're talking to everybody here. Number 1, who's taking the Iron Throne? So we'll go over this again. I say nobody, because it won't be there.
Yeah.
Are we all on that? Okay.
We're in it.
Number 2, who will you be most disappointed in seeing die? So I'm not sure if that's asking who we think's going to die and are going to be sad to die, or who would we be disappointed if they die. I am going to be sad when Cersei dies, although I think it's coming. So I will be disappointed because she's the most developed character on the show, I think. I love her. Who would I be most disappointed to see die? That's a good question. I think nobody's off limits. Can I say no? Is
Except
that a proper
Tyrion.
answer?
Tyrion is off limits. I'd be very
You say
disappointed.
who? No one?
I would actually go with
Yeah.
Tyrion. I think
Yeah.
I would be most disappointed to see Tyrion.
Yeah.
I would be disappointed for Arya. Because everyone else, I feel like they have such a... Not that Arya doesn't have a major role, but everyone else is almost destined to die. And I would just be very, very disappointed if
she's
she
gotta
wasn't able to
sail.
show off all of her Faceless Men skills.
She's got to sail west of Westeros
Right.
with Gendry.
Yeah. They need to just have babies and
Yeah.
be married.
I will be a little disappointed if Yara dies after keeping her alive for a whole season only so she can get rescued.
Right.
So if this rescue goes totally wrong and all we
Yeah.
see is Theon and her sister getting slaughtered over there, suppose I'll be a little disappointed. We didn't touch on that. Do we think that rescue is actually going to work? What's going to happen there?
I think so. I mean...
I feel like they wouldn't have let us on for a year, but they've done it before.
They've done it before, and Euron, he's a little occupied. He has a lot of... I mean, he's good at juggling, so who knows?
Yeah.
Honestly, it's in the grabs.
He's a wild card. Nobody
Right.
knows what he's going to do.
Number 3, who kills the Night King, if anyone, in parentheses? I will say Bran. I think in the end it will be Bran somehow, some way, whether that's through warging into him or warging into a dragon. But I'll say Bran.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I really think they're gonna shake hands on it. I really do. I really think that they're gonna have to come to a compromise, and part of that is gonna be a sacrifice. So I don't think anybody kills him.
Okay, that's a prediction.
Yeah.
a
I'm going
prediction
to say it's going to be split. A little help with Drogon, a little help with Nymeria and the Super PAC, or Ghost. Just animals. one of the amazing animals is going to kill the Night King. Hopefully
Drogon, Nymeria.
and Snow. Just animals. Just, tear them in shreds.
Those
Game of
Valyrian
animals.
teeth.
Yeah.
Oh, can I go back to the other question? Who would I be most disappointed to see die? Drogon. No doubt about it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like I think any of the characters could die. Danny could die before Drogon could die.
Yeah,
for
unanimous
sure.
vote. We all agree
Yeah.
with Seth.
Yeah.
Drogon.
Here is another one from Beans Collin on Twitter. Do you believe that Bran is the key to killing the Night's King, and do you think he has tried 1,000 times before and failed? Yes, I do. I'm into all that.
Yeah, we agree.
Yeah.
All right, here's one from Bevins. It's my buddy Brent. He's been on this podcast before, like 3 or 4 seasons ago, at Bevin65 on Twitter. If you could bring back one character from the dead, who would it be and why? How would them being alive affect the story to this point and moving forward? There is no doubt. I didn't wear the shirt today. I wore the shirt last episode. It's Oberyn Martell. He had 8 episodes, and he was the coolest character already on the show. How cool would the show be? How cool would Dorne have been if he was actually still alive? So give me some Oberyn Martell. In fact, let's just go crazy talk here. Let's just pretend Oberyn was actually a faceless man this whole time, and he pops back up in episode 1. Here comes Oberyn.
Now that's a prediction.
I like that.
Not even the guy on fire
Not even
prediction.
the guy on fire.
Yeah.
How would it affect the story? Obviously, it'd be a lot different. I think there'd be more politics and intrigue in the South that would have been cool instead of just kind of a throwaway, because they did such a poor job of that.
Yeah.
What about you
what's her
guys?
name? Cersei's daughter wouldn't be dead.
Right.
Because that was all for Oberyn.
So Cersei probably wouldn't be as mad and crazy as she is now.
Right.
Domino effect.
Yeah.
That means Tommen would probably be alive.
Yeah.
Wow, think about that.
Yeah.
Oberyn's death caused that much. Just like
an
that. What
important
about you?
man.
One character you could bring back, and how would it affect the show, do you think?
Catelyn, a.k.a. Stoneheart, for sure. If she was back, Brienne would have a fire underneath her butt and she wouldn't be staring at a candle for a whole season. And Bran,
Brienne into the candle was such a sad use of her character.
It was so sad.
Oh, man.
And she would be at Winterfell, making things happen.
I would say, and I don't even know if most people are going to know this character, but Shagger.
Shagger.
He was one of the guys from Mountains of the Moon that Tyrion hooked up with, the people who lived up in the hills, the savages. I would say him because
he had the crazy bone mask.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was
Shaggy,
a lot of
son of Timid, or whatever his name was.
he was a lot of fun. He'd be feeding dicks to goats. It'd be a good time. Be a real good time. I'd love to see Shagger.
It could have been a whole new faction.
Yeah,
That's the best answer right there. Andrew Scherer worked us with a little bit now. Sports anchor out in Biloxi, at Andrew WXXV on Twitter. Number 1, is there any part of you that wants the Night King to win? Like, that'd be kind of cool, right? He has another question. We'll start there. I think I know Leon's answer to this. No, but no. There's no part of me that wants him to win, unless somehow he's like Bran, trying to save something because global warming is coming, so he actually needs to bring the ice down, and this is all a ploy to save humanity. No, I have no idea. I have no idea. No, the answer to that would be no.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you said no, Leon.
No, I don't want him to win.
Oh, okay.
I don't want him to win. I would just, I think that it's more nuanced than good guy, bad guy, win, lose, all that. I think that there is a ecosystem involved in that, and they have territory, the living has territory, and that line has been muddied. So I think that needs to be cleared. And I don't think that means all-out victory or defeat. I think it's just more than that.
His second question was, I didn't really read it beforehand, but he just said, you have a Game of Thrones podcast. Let's hang out and do a watch party. So yes, you're welcome to join our watch party. Us 3 are going to be getting together next week. I think that's it. Did you guys have anything else that we forgot to bring up that you are going to kick yourself when you get back into your car and being, I should have brought that up. I know it. We've been talking about it all week. They have all the notes. They're very studious.
I don't think so.
I think we got it all.
Yeah, we got to talk about Sam. We got to talk about Sam with the Horn of Winter and all that. I got to say my crazy stuff about the Night's King and the others building the wall. So, yeah, I'm happy. I'm sure a lot of people are angry with me, so that makes me happy.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, I would definitely want to see some reunion, maybe the Hound and Brienne.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to see that.
Yes.
Hound and Arya.
Does
Yeah.
Hound
Arya
and
kill the Hound?
Sansa.
No.
She loves him.
No.
Needle. Right there. Although she has Valyrian steel now. That's one of the... I forgot to mention that. I'm glad we just randomly thought about this. I just noticed that she has a Littlefinger's dagger now.
Right.
Just killed him.
Yeah.
So is she the one that kills the Night's King with that Valyrian steel dagger?
Could be.
Face?
Yeah, I mean, it could be. Like, it's hard to imagine a scenario that, the rogue in D&D terms gets up to the big bad and then just,
That's true. Yes.
Yeah, but it could happen.
D&D reference.
Yeah.
It's great. Oh, the other... should we go teaser spoiler here? Question? Because I think there's a question that everybody on social media has who's seen the teasers. Nothing like no behind the scenes or Reddit spoilers. This is a teaser that Game of Thrones released. So if you haven't watched the trailer, maybe stop it here or skip for like the next 2 minutes. But we see Arya running through the crypts of Winterfell, very scared, which we think it's the crypts of Winterfell. I suppose it could be King's Landing, some kind of crypts. And I don't think we've seen Arya scared since like season 3 or season 4, like really scared. What is that all about? I have no idea.
So the crypts in Winterfell have all the dead Starks, all the dead Kings of Winter, right? They have iron swords on their lap, and when Bran and Rickon and Hodor and all them were hiding down there, they took some of those swords, right? So the iron was supposedly to keep the spirits in. Maybe when Winterfell is being sieged, the Night's King does some crazy reanimate magic, reanimates the dead Starks in the crypt, and they start taking all the other swords out, and then all of a sudden you got a siege outside.
Not
and
Papa
a battle.
Ned gonna come kill his Arya.
Well, Ned's bones aren't home.
Oh my goodness.
Ned's bones are not home, I don't think.
What,
so
Catelyn never got to do that
I don't-
whenever Littlefinger gave it to her?
No, but she never went back home like she should
Well, she could have
because
sent
Catelyn
it.
sucks.
No, I think she might have sent it.
Maybe. Wow. She did. She did.
Yeah.
In the books, it's different. It never got
we
there.
gonna
But
see
yeah.
reincarnated Ned Bones, headless Ned
Come on,
chasing
Sean
down
Bean.
Arya?
I think so. I think
Whoa.
that would be the only thing that would freak her out that much. So that's my thoughts on it.
All right.
Yeah, that's good.
That's not even deserve an on fire. I just think it.
No, that was my mind's legit blown right now.
Look, that's it. We're ready for the show. I think this Sunday we will be back Tuesday morning and every Tuesday morning through the end of the series and beyond. And we're also going to do this podcast for the spinoff. We're planning on it. So thanks for listening. Be sure you like and share this. Tell all your friends about it. Subscribe. You can find us on Twitter @apodcasthas. Please follow us there. Also, give us a follow on the gram. Do it for the gram @apodcasthasnoname, GOT. I'm on Twitter @Seth Dunlap on Twitter. Any social media you guys want to give out?
@Stina_Molinario.
@Leon J. Molinario on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Styles will be back next week. We'll also have a Cat from Bayou 957 and Teapot from B97. It'll be a full house. We'll be in a new, bigger studio, a little better video quality. Hopefully, anybody watching this on video, and hopefully, we see some deaths.
Yeah.
Because wasn't that the big complaint about last year? Was not enough deaths.
Not enough.
Yeah.
Not enough deaths. So do it for the god of death.
We've waited so long. It's here, guys.
Yes.
Here we go.
Yes.
For Stina and Leon, I'm Seth. Thanks for listening. Back next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Is it the whole time? It's been
Right,
Gilly's
it's
son.
been Gilly's son
man.
the whole time.
Little Samwell.
Oh.
No. What would Bran's Google search be? Would it be like Raven Book or Brangle?
Prangle.
Weird Wiki.
Weird Wiki.
Yeah. Bull
Yes,
like,
queen.
Yes, queen.
Yes, queen.
People
Girl.
have a role to play.
Ooh, girl.
Honey, so obviously, boo.
Honey.
He the Night King, baby, for sure.
Honey.